Welcome to another episode of Beer Culture Web Show, and I'm here with my partner, Justin.
That's my name.
What's going on? And we got a special guest. It is, sir.
Because I don't have a fucking cool name like you yet.
Well, you know what? We can come up with one. It's not a cool name. It's just a fucking weird name I got stuck with when I was like 15 fucking... Well, I wasn't saying I would come up with it. I said we would come up with it. It takes a team. It takes a village, Justin.
I'm a little scared of what you might come up with. But forget about me. Who's this guy
All right.
over here?
Brett Newton, what's going on, man?
How do you do?
Brett Newton. He's also the president of the Coachella Valley Homebrewing Club.
Very good.
Indeed,
absolutely.
I am. You have royalty.
Yeah. That's right, sir. Fancy. Do you drink with your pinky out, sir?
Yes.
Can we call you El Presidente for the remainder of this episode?
Yes, please.
El
You
Presidente.
Can, but I'm not going to.
El, I love that. Someone used to call me that back in the
Wait,
past.
it's been 2 minutes. I already got a nickname. Where's yours, man?
Oh, holy shit. So glad we reshot this section. So much a better launch out. Oh my god. Fucking break the bottle in the front of the ship or sail it. Holy shit. Anyway, welcome to Beer Culture Web Show, and we're glad to be back. There was a little break where we weren't doing the out-of-state beer sharings. We were off doing Valentine's stuff, and you know, love was in the air, but we finally got past the Hallmark holiday, and now we're back on track with what really matters, fucking good beer. So that's awesome. And today we're drinking some really fucking amazing beer from
Surly.
And they are out of
Brooklyn Center, Minnesota.
Nice. You come up with beer some of the craziest names.
I know. I think that's basically like a suburb of Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's right there in the Twin Cities area, just like kind of
very good.
Right outside. But
and this is their double IPA, right?
This is Abrasive, seasonal double IPA. I think it's around 9%, and they say it's 120-ish IBUs. I don't know if you want to, comment on the color there.
You know I do.
Talk about the color.
It's a golden hue.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Colorblind.
But
El Presidente is colorblind, so he doesn't care. But I, the beer snob, love to talk about the SRMs of the beer. Now this is the beer that got us talking about brewing our own batch of beer. And this is the beer that got us talking about a hop selection, and you were like, no, Citra.
Yep.
This is a big Citra beer, which is really a pretty relatively new hop.
Yeah, it's only been around for a few years now.
And it's a storm breaker.
Out of all the hops I can think of, I can't think of one that stands out more in a beer than Citra. Like that, it is completely unique in that way. Where, I mean, if you're good at it, you can tell like Simcoe or Cascade or Centennial, if you've had a few beers with Citra, it doesn't take long. You can,
boom, you know it.
Very distinct.
It's like a hop funk. It's like, it comes out as weird things sometimes. I have a hard time explaining it.
Sometimes it gets that like catty aroma.
Yeah, it really does.
Monumentus on Brett has got Citra in it now, so that's really gonna bring that funk of that hop out. We're going to go over there to CVB, Coachella Valley Brewing. So welcome to Beer Culture Web Show. So glad to have you finally on.
Yeah. My pleasure.
And I think we've done this one. I know we've done this beer before.
No.
But,
no, we've done Furious before.
That's right, we did this one off camera. That's right, we did this one off camera.
Yeah.
Very good.
No, we've been drinking stuff. We're a little goofy.
Yeah.
You know what? That's the show, though.
I know.
That's it. Chocolate, okay?
Yeah.
It's going to happen if we're not careful. Chocolate moment will happen if we're not careful, folks.
Always remember
chocolate. Let's get chocolate wasted. Fuck it. Let's get fucking chocolate wasted.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
I just know this time I'm going to pace myself and somebody's going to finish their beer before me. I'm going to try anyway. I don't think I can do it.
It's possible.
I can't. I'm a fucking G.I. Joe grip. Pow. I just want to...
This guy, man, I'll tell you, this guy is the king of savoring and enjoying the beer.
He is. I remember the first few times we drank together, he was just like, look where he is, like, I'm warming the beer up. I was like, I was pouring beers in my house, he's like, you pour your beer's too cold. He was just like, on the freezer glass shit, chirper, it's just fucking out of control. I'm going to warm this shit up.
Freezer glass, I'm going to be like,
yes. Yeah, I know, I was all into it. But now I'm starting to pull away from that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, just trying to pour
cold
my beers regular.
kills flavor.
Yes, it does.
It numbs your taste buds and you can't taste it.
Well, we were talking about that earlier, how, there's some beers that when they do warm up or they get hot, because you're not going to finish all that beer quick enough or whatever, it actually enhances that beer. And then I've gotten to that point to where when a beer is really fucking good, especially if it's really dank, I'm like, to the end of that beer, I'm like, I'm going to set that aside a minute and maybe order the next beer and leave that alone for a minute. I really want to see what that's like warm.
Yeah.
Because that's the telltale sign of a true, well-balanced IPA. Does it really?
But it's not just beer
good?
snobbery for me. It's also like a drinking technique I learned long ago in Germany.
Yeah.
In Munich, I went there. I remember I went to this thing called the Stadtelfest, where they cleared out a barn and just like threw a huge party. They brought a ton of beer.
Wow.
Like
nice.
they brought a band, the Oompa Oompa shit. People got up on the benches. That shit happens in Germany. That happens. It's not a
it's not a sitcom there.
And like I started drinking, and I was like, I had my liter. You know, it's called ein Maß. It just means like a measurement, but they call it the liter.
Yeah.
And I was drinking it, and I saw the people at the end of the table looking at me a little funny, and I was like, I noticed you were checking me out. What's going on? And they're like, you're drinking your beer fast. And I said, oh, really? Well, how do you guys do it? And they say you start off very slow, as slow as you can, and then ramp up. And then by the end of my trip, I stayed there for
ramp up.
And then I stayed. I shouldn't say that.
The Germans ramp up. The Germans.
Oops.
Okay, buddy. Now we know.
Shout out to the Germans.
We might edit that out. I don't know. We'll see how it plays later.
And sure enough, by the end of my 2-month stay, it was like the end of the night was just unbelievable. Like pound, pound, pound. They
nice.
really, really work. So you start slow, and then.
See, that sounds better to me than starting out fast and then slowing down, because I think you get a lot different buzz when you do that.
Yeah.
And you don't get necessarily as
well, ever notice like in a good all day like bender?
Yes.
Like by the end of the night, you're not even feeling anything.
Yeah, when
like
I drink, I know I'm drinking all day and I start drinking slow and I start drinking low ABV beers, and then by the time we end up somewhere, I'm like, give me a fucking barley wine. Woo! I'm like kicking them. Yeah. But if I start out drinking heavy beers, by the end of the night, I'm like, got one beer and I'm just sipping it. Mm-hmm. You know, trying to keep my buzz but not go any higher.
Yeah, so that's what I learned from the Germans.
Very, very interesting.
I think that has more to do with it than anything. But like in a beer, that there's a lot going on in this particular. For a double IPA, there's a lot of flavors. You know. Yeah. It's really not just a simple. Oh, this is piney. You know?
No, it's not. It's really good.
Like I was saying before we started, sorry to cut you off, but they use oats in this, and you said that they use that to
increases the mouthfeel.
Yeah, give it a better mouthfeel.
It gives it more of a that almost malty but like heavier mouthfeel without adding a bunch of darker color.
Yeah, it used to be something they just did in stouts, really.
Right?
Yeah.
And now they just kind of are like, you're free to do whatever in this craft beer.
I feel the same way about rye. Rye adds that kind of a spicy back note, but it adds some mouthfeel too. You know, rye adds a lot of body to a beer. I love it.
It does change them at wheat as well. Like things like that change mouthfeel. Yeah.
One of the beauties of CVB is that they can use those specialty type grains and things and heavier capacities to really bring out.
I'm waiting for 100% rye beer.
Let's do that.
I should do it. I think you'd have to call it a rye wine. Like, you know, 100% wheat is a wheat wine, I think. So 100% rye would have to be a rye wine.
What is the percentage on the Lucas Rye Walker that Chris Anderson just did for his son over at Coachella Brewing? Because that beer is
awesome. It's probably really high.
I think it's around 8%. Maybe.
Oh, we're just rye?
No, I think
it's a rye double IPA with.
No, I mean the percentage of rye in the grain. Yeah, I think you're right. It's up in that 7-8% range as far as ABV. But what is the percentage of rye in that grain bill?
I don't
We're
remember.
We're gonna have to text it between beers.
For reference, I don't know, but for reference, like I've talked to brewers who on traditional systems who have had like stuck mashes, like no problems with like 20%.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Hebs can do 100. It could really go. It could go all the way.
We just got to do all rye beer.
Theoretically.
And Hebs, for those of you who don't know, is high efficiency brewing system. Their Coachella Valley Brewing Company is one of the few 10 in the world.
10 in the world right now.
10 in the world.
And that's up from like 5 less than a year ago.
Yeah, I think it's right. I think there's 8 functioning, 2 in production.
Yeah. And what kind of efficiency are they getting out of that?
Oh, he can get.
I haven't asked him what the percentage is.
I think he talks about like 95, 98% efficiencies out of that system because of the way it can compress the grain.
Yeah.
Without actually having
rarefied air, like the efficiencies he's getting.
And there's no shoveling of everything, you know. We talked about that too. Like you see the videos of the guy opening the door and getting in there with the hoe and the rake to get the grain out, and and then you see them. They're like,
well, that's Chris. Chris has done it. Chris has done it. Chris has crawled into containers.
Yeah, absolutely. He talked about
Alaska,
that. Yeah, he talked about that. Like, you're the little guy? Okay, you're going up in there because we need to shovel the rest of that out.
I would not want to be that guy.
I was with Micah and this guy when Micah's system shut down.
Oh, boy.
Our first time brewing together was me and this guy. We were on stools taking turns with the paddle, and Micah and his friends were like,
105 degrees.
oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, these guys are drinking freaking barley wines over there in sours.
It was for a huge Russian Imperial Stout they were trying to do.
It died a merciless death.
I never made it.
No.
Never made
Now
it.
he's doing olives and sausages. What else is he doing?
Goat jerky.
Like he had chickens in his back for a while. Like,
He's going crazy.
Like, you have to have Mike on though. He's shy.
He's awesome. I love that guy.
He's shy about going on camera and stuff.
Is he?
But if you have him on and really talk to him about some of that stuff, he's so like.
No, he had his own.
He's the ultimate DIY guy. Like, if
He
there's
had
a
his
DIY
homemade
thing to do, he wants to do.
Dude
it.
had a homemade glycol system.
Really?
He had glycol in a freezer, and he had a fucking Jimmy rig with a pump pumping the glycol from the freezer down through this little homemade cooling system and back into his freezer.
That's the dude you want to go
chill his beer.
That's the dude you want to go camping with.
Yeah,
because
he's MacGyver of
something
brewing,
goes wrong,
dude.
he'll know what to do, and also like you wake up for breakfast, this badass like Thai breakfast sausage and like all this
With barley wine.
fresh eggs that he just got from his. I don't
With
know if he has
barley
those
wine.
chickens anymore, but
And see, when you
Well,
meet
if he
him,
doesn't,
and you hang
you
out
eat
with him, he doesn't seem like the kind of like rugged, outdoorsy type that would know that kind
well,
of stuff.
it's also funny because he works a relatively like modern technology job
Yeah.
for a news station. Like he
No,
knows
he's
what's going on. He's
if the world
interesting,
ended
dude.
tomorrow, we'd be buying like eggs, sausage, beer, and fucking gadgets from that guy
Yeah.
because that guy creates some shit. I mean, he had a fan from like a computer on the side of this styrofoam box he built, and he had glycol being pumped from a freezer down through the unit, and the fan was
Oh, he did it
circulating
from the
temperature,
freezer,
and he
'cause
was
that-
maintaining 68 degrees
That's so
in the middle of
interesting.
summer in his fucking garage. With that. Holy shit.
Because that's like a if you look up son of fermentation, there's a guy who posted that system where it's a styrofoam and it's like there's a wall in between. You put the carboy in there. You got the computer fans. You have it hooked up to a temperature regulator of some kind. And then you put on the other side you put like a huge bucket of ice, and then you have to keep replacing that ice. He just threw the glycol right through that. And
who gets their hands? Who gets their hands on like 5 gallons of glycol and just has it at their house? Like that's expensive shit. Fucking Micah. Dude.
This guy could potentially just afford another. Well, he does have a fridge that he can temperature.
Fermenter.
Yeah. He just wants to do that stuff. I am the opposite of Micah.
We need to get him
I do
on
not
there.
want to do it.
Yeah, but you're doing it like you're like caveman traditional. You're like, I have walked around my house and found the place that is perfect for 68 to 70 degrees, and I've brewed all my beer in that corner.
Yeah,
and
I also tailor the beers that I'm going to do so that
To
they'll
the temperatures
survive
that you
at
have.
that. Yeah, like usually Belgians.
Yeah.
I'm doing a English barley wine right now that I have in the secondary that I'm aging. I'm very happy with. I've done that about 2.5 years ago or something, and I opened the last bottle I had. This guy had a little bit.
That was excellent, man.
It was aged
Really,
English
really
barley
good.
wine aged in Maker's Mark, French oak soaked in Maker's Mark, and this one is Glenlivet's 16-year Nadura, which is Scotch aged in bourbon casks, which I'm aging my beer on. It's like Inception, beerception.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because they're getting that flavor profile.
Yeah.
Of somebody that has bought the barrel and poured the beer and aged it in the barrel without all the longevity that they need, or of putting it in, racking it out. You're just doing it all right there in that glass.
That's what's so great about being. Sometimes I think about people have been homebrewing for as long as humans have recorded things, but
Absolutely.
like modern homebrewing now, like as compared to even 10 years ago, the things you can get for your homebrew is like, oh my god, like online. I'm ordering these things online and getting them at my door,
right to your door.
all kinds of yeast, all kinds of oak, all kinds of. It's really
crazy.
It's really a great time to become a homebrewer, and it's super simple.
You
I'm
put
trying
that-
to bring the English styles back, man. I really think like America's done a lot to bring all these, like we've worked the pale and the IPA and done all these different things, the brown, the barley wine, everything. Okay, but all that means in American is just hop the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Hop the ever living fuck out of it, and that's American style. I want to bring back some of the English styles where it's more about malt profile.
About the malt profile.
That's my favorite thing about barley wines is the malt profile and old ales and like stuff like that. Yeah. I think that's due for a serious comeback, and I think I think that's a little bit. Beers. Yeah, it's a little bit better measurement of how you are as a brewer too.
I agree.
Yeah, where like you can work these things in, and you're not just relying. Oh, I'm going to dunk a bunch of these hops that I love on it, and
cover up anything that might have went wrong.
Yeah, it kind of. But I mean, I like those too. There's nothing wrong with those, but I mean, and you age those American styles too, like American barley wine. The hops fall back, and then the beer becomes better because the malt comes forward.
Yeah. You age a beer, and very good. Yeah. Well, there's a couple of beers out there I think that are really good in their malt profile, and they're not too hopped up right now. Like Hop Rod Rye, it's really a good malt base long before it's hopped up. It really is.
Yeah. Oh, there's some like that. I do like the balance, and I do. Yeah. And I'm not just like. I don't want the super hoppy beers. I also like the ridiculously hoppy, like Ruination and
Grapefruit
Slam.
But you said they changed Ruination. Yeah. Ruination is really on.
I heard that. I haven't had that.
No, you have. Actually, you are drinking it. Yeah, it's in we buy the mix pack all the time, and it's
I literally haven't opened a bottle of Ruination.
Personally, 8.2% now.
Yeah, personally, I like it a lot better. They changed the hops in it.
Really?
It's Magnum,
they raised the alcohol a
and
little bit.
I forget what else.
Yeah, I don't remember what the other ones were, but they.
Might be Chinook.
It's a lot better for me. I mean, a lot of people
way more balanced.
Yeah, a lot of people like the kick in the face, hot punch that thing had.
Yeah,
before,
and it's
but now
way
still,
smoother now.
It's still extremely hoppy, but now it's got a lot more flavor to it. It's not just so so overpowered with hops and bitterness. You actually get a lot of a lot more citrus flavor.
I'm all for that too, but I mean, ultimately it just has to taste good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously, but I did like the thing about Ruination. I think they used to call it a liquid poem to the hop or something like that. It said that on the bottle.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what this is.
Another beer that's all about hops and nothing else is Hopsicle from Moylan's. Have you had that one?
No.
Oh my God! If you like hops, you need to drink that beer.
Drink
it's
that
like
beer.
it's like I think it's like around 9.5%. But I mean, it's just straight hops and nothing else.
I mean, I always say hops got a story to tell. They just need to tell it. And I agree with I totally agree with El Presidente over here that grain and all of the adjuncts to that have a story to tell as well, and they need a chance to tell it. There's beers for all of those profiles, and I agree that we need to bring some of that back because we've incubated that. We've brought beer into the U.S. and we incubated the shit out of it. And on our way up, as we've blown the beer industry out of the water and gone back to 3,000 breweries since the beginning of Prohibition.
Yeah.
We've done it on the back of hops, man. We've just been like, we're gonna hop the fuck out of everything.
I've said this to a few people, and I think that like craft beer is one of those things right now that is truly American. Like the way businesses used to be in the 19th century and stuff, where it just exploded and there was all this creativity pouring out. You're free to do all this stuff, and it's not true with most businesses now in the U.S. We suck at most things now, in fact. And most other countries are kicking our asses at a whole bunch of things. Craft beer, no fucking way.
Everybody's reinventing beer. Yeah, those countries that fucking were the beer.
Yeah.
They were the ones, man. They created beer. We started brewing because of what we took from our homeland.
Germany, England, Belgium,
and now
Ireland,
they're over there and they're like punk IPA.
They're getting past
Sink the Bismarck. Like what the fuck? Like all these fucking breweries are coming up and
they're taking inspiration from us, and
that's
I
awesome.
think is the most American thing about.
So if the world collapses tomorrow, we will be the primary brewers, and that's good. Right. We got that going for us, and that's nice. So
now, is homebrewing as big in Europe as it is in America? Do you think?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't really read or hear a lot about people in Europe doing
I'm sure that's done over there. I don't know,
which is bizarre because they've always had it legal, right?
Yeah,
it's always been.
Yeah,
legal.
so I was just thinking, they probably don't have the same restrictions and regulations that we've fought to overcome.
It might have to be. It's one of those things where it's catching on because in a lot of places in Europe, the way it's been happening for so long, like England and Germany, I'm thinking about in particular, where you have a brewery locally. that just takes care of your ass. Like you or a pub or whatever it is that has the beer there.
Old school American style, the way it used to be for us too. Yeah. That's why we had 3,000 breweries at that point, because those breweries were not trying to do 130,000, barrels a year. They were just trying to take care of that community. You got 3,000 breweries now, but they're all trying to distribute as far out and as deep as they can.
Yeah, and it's sort of where we're getting now, except it's just it's more exciting the way we're doing it.
I think so, because you got some small breweries that are going to make a phenomenal living in a very small footprint. Russian River Brewing. That guy is making a ton of money.
Alpine,
very small footprint. Doing a phenomenal,
so small,
even
like it's
Surly,
incredible.
Surly, Three Floyds, a lot of the
Three Floyds,
a lot of the really
Three Floyds.
The
sought after breweries in America, they really don't have like nationwide distribution. You have the Stones,
but the word of mouth is spread because of how good the beer is, which is the ultimate test to me.
It's also because of the trading systems and the rating systems. Those rating systems get out there. And those traders get out there. People like us get out there that are pirate beer traders, and we blow it up. We're on this side blowing up. Oh, we got this Grapefruit Stone, or we got this, we got that. We got stuff from the brewery that you can't get your hands on, and they're hearing about the brewery on the rating systems and on the beer trade systems. And they're on that side, and they got their hands on Surly Darkness and all this.
Which is yet another thing that the internet is completely. Changed like before you just had to hear about it and then happened to
some guy came on a wagon and was like, I had a beer. No,
it was
now,
probably one time
instant
thing
information.
Not so much. You can really go for it.
Instant information.
I have a beer. I noticed that I have a bear and you don't.
He did it
again.
Of all the things he wanted to get back in from episode to episode, he had to get that one in. In my heart, I'm wounded already.
You'll learn one of these days.
I don't need more injury, emotional or physical, from you.
Yeah, we won't go into it.
In a second. There we go.
Thank you, sir, for joining me in the end of our beers. Yeah. Solidarity. Thank you, El Presidente.
You're welcome. That's what I do. I bring people together.
Oh, you're awesome. Oh, thank you. I know some of the audience is joining me. It's awesome. All right. We're going to... I think...
We'll be next. We'll be back.
This may be the end of this episode. There may be another one following this one. I'm not 100% sure, but thank you for joining Beer Culture Web Show. Thank you, El Presidente, for being here.
Thank you.
And Justin, stop picking on me. I'm old. I can't take the pressure.
You're the one that
I'm wounded right now.
You're the one that invited me to this
I'm fucking wounded right now.
Listen, guys, you have a guest here. Please don't make it awkward.